What's going on, everybody? Once again, the CK and J Show. We've got to talk some more ball here on Unfair Sports. Collin Kennedy, 247, Sooners Illustrated. What's good, my man?
Playoffs,
Playoffs?
man. How about that? Who'd have thought when we were doing like the CK and J Show months ago that we'd be sitting here talking about the postseason dance? I'm excited. I'm nervous. We're going to talk about it all, but yet again, an honor to be here on the show with you, my friend.
Man, I appreciate you pulling up as usual. Everybody, make sure you hit the like, subscribe. Go check out Sooners Illustrated. Collin Kennedy and the team over there always does fantastic work. Recruiting. We're about to hit portal season where things are about to get really hot and heavy in the message board. So you need to get over there and check them out. But CK, we've got the playoffs in about a day, roughly, right? It's
crazy.
Oklahoma and Alabama again. And we talked about this before we jumped on, the nerves that we both kind of have going into this game. I feel like Oklahoma will pull it off, but when I really started thinking about it more, and I think it really came to head when me and you started first talking, that it feels like the name Alabama is more terrifying than Alabama as an actual team. Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think that there's probably two layers to the equation, right? I think certainly part of it is perceptionally what the name value of Alabama is, right? And what typically comes with the brand of Alabama football, high-level recruits turned high-level players, the track record of winning, things of that nature. And again, like you mentioned, just the concept of Alabama and what that brings to the table is, I would assume, relatively intimidating or nerve-inducing, I should probably say, for a lot of folks out there. But I also think there's another part of this equation. And I was telling you, I am nervous about this game. And for me, it's like I acknowledge that. I hear that out. I wholeheartedly kind of agree. But I also think for me, my nerves going into this game as it relates to Oklahoma facing Alabama again more stems from like the idea that you're playing an SEC caliber program for the third time in 13 months in a win or literally go home situation. And I think there's a lot to that. I think that there's the natural familiarity. I think that there's having awareness of certain tendencies, the ability to change looks and alter things through internal scouting that then presents a new challenge with the talented personnel. And I think the other thing too is it's like with the Alabama stuff, like all that aside, I think the world of guys like Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack and Ryan Grubb, I think those are just really damn good coaches. And so for me, I think too, like the thing that you should probably be nervous about is like, you got really good coaches on the Oklahoma side, but those guys get paid millions of dollars to do the same job. Right. Yep. And so that's kind of it for me as well. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And hey, man, I should say this too. Like, they don't say third time's a charm for nothing, which now has me a little bit nervous about that whole, superstition type of layer to it.
Yeah, you got to stop being superstitious on that, CK, because you're now making me nervous. but no, you're right. You make a valid point here of this is our third time seeing them in 2 years, which is still the wildest thing to think, right?
Not even 2 years. I mean, it's 13 months. Like, how crazy is that?
That is truth. In a 13-month period, we will see this team 3 times. Like, I think the last time they've dealt with something, actually not even close to this, it hasn't been 3 times in a 13-month period, but seeing the same team twice is, traditionary between them and Georgia or them and LSU. Mm-hmm. They don't really lose to teams twice or whatnot. They split it with Georgia this year.
Yeah.
I guess the thing for me is that Georgia game 2 weeks ago, just under 2 weeks ago, actually a week and a half ago, we won't even hit 2 weeks until Saturday, they didn't look very good. They looked human. And they've been looking more and more human since playing Oklahoma. Like, of course, the rumor that's going around right now is Ty Simpson is dealing with some sort of a back situation.
Yeah.
We don't know how true that is.
He said he feels good in the presser this week for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I hope he would lie to us and say that he feels
I was about
good.
to say, bold-faced lying is still permitted in the press conference.
Buddy, John Mateer said his thumb's been fine, and Brent Venables basically confirmed that, yeah, he's still working on his grip, but it's gotten better now. That's why he's not wearing tape. And it's like, oh, okay, so you have been dealing with something. I had mentioned this before to some folks that if the starting quarterback's going to play, they're not putting him on the injury report. Because there's no reason to put him on there unless you do have a doubt that he won't be able to actually be in the game. If you're saying that he's playing and he said, I'm playing, they're going to inject that boy and they're going to never have him on that report. So it's not a situation where he wouldn't be on there.
Yeah.
But when I look at this on the surface, he has not looked the same since those hits from Taylor Wine. And I think I want to start there because based upon the last availability report, Jaden Jackson, he says that he's about where he needs to be. R. Mason Thomas isn't listed, and you've seen him going through drills. Feels like he's about ready to go. They didn't really have to deal with those two last time, but now they do. And then everybody behind them is good. Does that bode well for Bama at all? Like that, I think that's where my confidence is a little bit there because the guy that's quote unquote the fastest in the pass rush is now available. Mm-hmm. What does Bama do to slow him down when they're still dealing with ailments on their offensive line?
Right. The injury report stuff in this game is so interesting to me because and this is something I want to make clear. The nerves coming from my end is not about nerves as far as like Oklahoma just flat out losing. The nerves for me more so draw from a place of like this game is becoming more and more uncertain or intriguing. Yeah. Like as we get closer to kickoff, it feels like, oh man, like these two teams are getting in a position to do real battle. And it feels like we're on the verge of a nail biter. Right. And I think that and that's the thing is I'm going in this game thinking it's going to be a close ball game. However, I think it's going to be a close ball game. And I think Oklahoma is actually coming out of this whole availability report thing on the right end, especially compared to kind of where Alabama is going into this. Now, Alabama's getting healthy. I'll talk about that in a second. But I think what you were talking about, the fact that Oklahoma is getting boosts along the line of scrimmage, specifically for me, is a huge aspect of this game. Because if there's a place you want to be in a better spot in going into a game like this, it's got to be the trenches, right? And Alabama's probably not going to have LT Overton on the defensive line. As you mentioned, their offensive line has been dinged up a little bit. Parker Brailsford, I think Cam Dewberry's been banged up. I know that the tight ends, DeBoer said both of those guys are going to play on Friday. They're still listed, or they have been upgraded now to probable as of tonight, which is notable. But if you're
Cuevas
Oklahoma,
as well as Lewis,
Yep. If you're Oklahoma, the fact that you got, you mentioned the fastest. The fact that you probably are getting your best overall football player back for this game when he didn't play against them at all.
Nope.
And then, oh, by the way, in my opinion, your best defensive tackle, potentially at full strength. I think that Jaden Jackson, him being limited over the last few weeks, it has been something that Oklahoma has overcome. But through that, they have kind of helped themselves in a similar way with the R. Mason Thomas thing, right? Where they've played at a high level. Those defensive linemen have dominated even without one of their best up front. And so I don't know, man. Like, I really like the fact that if you're Oklahoma, you're going into a game like this, a playoff setting, and you're getting two huge boosts on the line of scrimmage. And if it comes to fruition, which is the other part of this, right? Like they got to play to the standard that they set for themselves.
Yep.
If guys like R. Mason Thomas and Jaden Jackson do so, That's not something Alabama saw in the last time around, and it is a complete game changer for an offense that, like you mentioned, is kind of reeling off of a lackluster SEC title game performance.
Oh, 100%. And it's as you mentioned that about Jaden Jackson, I 100% agree with you. I think the thing that it's even funnier about that is he's been limited since Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically his most game. He got, I guess, the injury happened Tennessee. Bye week, he was, they're trying to rest him up, and he last 3 games it's been limited, right? We haven't given up 100 yards to a team in rushing in any of those 4 games in November.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And that's still having arguably your best defensive tackle out, who's one of the better run stuffers and even pass rushers on the interior. Like him and Stone together, and then G Baby as well, and Dominic, like all 4 of them, no matter the configuration, they work so well together in tandem.
Yes.
And you didn't have that. Now, Marcus Strong came in and gave you some good minutes. So I'm not going to, no shade at all to him. He did a great job of supplementing. But you saw the increase in like Stone and Dom and Grayson. But we didn't give up 100 yards after Ole Miss, which is wild.
Yeah.
To think about.
I'll say this too. I think the thing about Jaden for me, look, if you're out there going, well, I think David is the best, or I think Grayson is the best. Hey, man, I don't know that there's a right answer to this question. I think they're all really damn good football players, right?
Yep.
The thing for me, Jay, is like when Jaden is in there, if you watch closely, they are very active with him in the defensive line game stuff whenever he's in there. It doesn't matter if it's Dominic. It doesn't matter if it's David. It doesn't matter who's next to Jaden. When Jaden is in there, it is clear to me at times in game that they feel extremely comfortable calling some of the TTs, TEs, run game stunts, whatever, because they know he can do it. And they know he can do it at a high level. And they know that he can penetrate and pass rush, but they also know he can clog and free up guys on the line of scrimmage. And I think that's the other thing, too, is like Jaden, we'll talk about R. Mason here in a second. Jaden is an elite player. He's one of my favorite watches on the team. Jaden is also like such an ideal fit. He's kind of like the engine on the inside, right? Like he's what is under the hood making a lot of this stuff go sometimes. And if you get him back in that type of role against Alabama, this is a big thing for me, man. Like that Alabama offensive line showed you it can struggle at times communicating and matching movement-wise some of those defensive line patterns. And
that's true.
If you can force that Alabama offensive line to go into a road setting, the crowd's going to be loud, things like that. If Alabama all of a sudden is on its heels a little bit on the offensive line, trying to talk to each other, can't hear, and these guys are flying around, and Jaden is a big part of that, that's a tall task on the line of scrimmage, my friend.
No, that's a very good point.
I just made you feel better. I see you. I see it in your smile. I made you feel a little bit better about that point there.
You did. You 100% did. It's you.
And then, oh, by the way, the first round caliber defensive end is going to be in the football game.
Right. Like now you add in the R. Mason Thomas component of it. And he's like, okay, I guess that's where my overconfidence starts to slowly show in this game. If Ty Simpson looks like he did against Georgia, and the way their offensive line is pretty beat up, we should destroy them very quickly. Like it should not take long. I'm not saying it will. Don't take it as, viewers, don't take it as me saying that we're going to go in there and just dominate them immediately. No. But if they do play similar to the way it played against Georgia, they should be able to start out very fast with tearing them up. Like Ty Simpson has not looked the same since. He's looked mortal, basically, since our game. And in our game, he still threw for 300-some yards.
Yeah.
But you forced him to do a lot of stuff in the second half that really ate them alive. Like, people, if you followed me for a while, you've heard me say this numerous times. and I really want people to understand this is why the confidence is here with me on this game is we led that game for 52 minutes. CK, like, think about that. We were outgained by 200 yards in the game, and we led the game for 52 minutes. There was a 7-minute span in that game where they took the lead, and when they took that lead, after that moment, they did not pass the 50-yard line in their home. That counts for something, and it makes me go into transitioning over into what our offense needs to do in order to be, I guess you could say, successful in this game. So the partners over there at Sleeper, we're going to make a couple of picks here, but you can definitely check them out. All you got to use our promo code UNFAIR. They're going to match your first deposit 100% up to $100. And they're going to give you $20 just for checking them out. And so when I look at the picks here, of course, the beauty of it is that college football is on this list. So we go to college football. Let's look at Oklahoma versus Bama. These are some hot picks right now. 2 or more players, more or less on the stats. You can pick Ty Simpson. I'm going to take him less still. I'm also going to take Isaiah Satania to get some yards and John Mateer to score through 2 touchdowns. I know, ambitious, but you don't know what's going to happen in this game. It's going to be great because it's going to be at night and it's going to be in Norman. I'm definitely going to take Xavier Robinson to do his thing. They're not going to give us Tate, Titanium Leg, Sandell for a reason, which I get. And I think Isaiah Horton's probably going to be their best receiver. So we'll pick him after we clear the slip. But you pick 2 or more players, more or less on the stats, and you can win big money. So check them out. Use the promo code UNFAIR. We'll match your first deposit 100% up to $100. Plus, they give you $20 just for checking them out. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Collin Kennedy, 247 Sports, Sooners Illustrated. Check them out. They've got a great promo. What's the promo right now?
Sooners Pod 60, exclusive. If you're hearing it on this show, you can't really get it anywhere else besides our podcast. I'll tell you, 60% off a full year subscription. Go get to it. And you'll be like, hey, I'm glad I was watching Unfair Sports.
Yes, do it. Join. And I'm telling you, the message boards are going to be ridiculous because why? It's transfer portal season. So speaking of which, though, LT Overton is not going to play, it looks like.
Yeah.
In this game. It sounds like it's something a little bit more serious than injury. We've been seeing things on the message boards. I try to stay away from that type of speculation when it's stuff like that, health-wise. Try to be respectful on that. And so you can go find it. It's not like it's hard to find what everybody's saying about him. But it appears he's done. He's out. They also have linebacker out. You got Jeremiah Beeman also out. 2 of their DBs are out. So Drake Kirkpatrick still ain't playing. They got a lot of things happening over there defensively. But I think LT Overton is a big deal, not only on the defensive side, but also special teams. Like, he's a big deal in, if I'm correct, in like their punt game and their kick game and stuff. For Oklahoma walking into this game, I'm truly curious. Brent Venables mentioned that Mateer isn't pain-free, but he's gripping the ball better.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, as the beat was there at the practice earlier this week, everybody noticed the fact that he's not wearing the tape that he normally wears around said thumb. I ask, will we get the John Mateer of Auburn? Or will we get the John Mateer of LSU? Or the same one we got against Alabama last time? Because I'm going to be honest, the LSU one was not bad besides the picks. That 300-something yards was actually pretty darn impressive against a secondary that is really good.
Really good.
And a linebacker room that is really physical. He looked comfortable. Is it 2.5 more weeks? We think we good, CK?
I don't know.
I know
I have
that
no clue.
You see, I know, like you and me, we're in the same boat of I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that I've synced it. I think that's where I am conflicted in this entire conversation about materia is, gosh darn it, I've seen it this year.
Yeah, man.
And because I know this is going to be a defensive battle, as you stated, I'm the exact same thing. Busted plays are going to be the ones that's going to win the game. Do we end up getting another one? Or two like we did last against LSU?
Yeah.
How do you feel about them?
I wish I had a firm answer for you, but like it is just. I'll say this: I'm exactly where you are, and it's difficult because every time I look at John, it's difficult for me to assess it because, like you said, I've seen it before. I watched the Auburn game, I watched the Michigan game, and man, after that stretch there, I thought, man, this guy's for real. And then the last few weeks have happened. And you're like, I know it's there. I also know he's dealing with injuries, but I also know that it's been far from perfect on the field, right? And it makes this murky picture for you to try to decipher. And I don't know. I'll say this. I think I feel a lot better compared to where I was like going into the Alabama game last time around, where I was a little bit nervous about the way the material was going to handle that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like John's getting healthier. Hopefully that means he's gaining confidence in himself again. And, like I like John a lot. I'm pulling for John, and I want to see him obviously step up, because if he steps up, he's kind of the key to this whole thing. If he plays at a high level like that, there's no limit to what this team could accomplish. I'll say this. I feel good. I think two things. And it falls under the umbrella of, I feel good about John. I feel great about John if you go into this game understanding what you can do to protect him in this setting. Because Alabama's defense is elite. Both of these teams are top 12 in points per game allowed nationally. I mean, they're really good groups.
Yep.
If you go into this game and you're saying, if you're telling me, hey, John's feeling better and we're going to do these two things, then I feel great. Number one, we're going to call the design QB run game again. I mean, that spin zone move he put on Alabama was unreal. You and I were both sitting in that end zone where it was, I mean, I watched him and I was like, is he going to go down? What's happening right now?
Is he going to fall?
It didn't even look like he was touching the ground.
No.
That was crazy. And I think if you can go +1 in the run game against this caliber of Alabama defense, then you're set up, right? You've got a shot. The second thing I think you can do, and I would feel really good about it with John, I really want to see Oklahoma do what has worked well for them in these big moments, which is get the ball to the guys that can do something with it in their hands.
That part.
I think that Ben Arbuckle told you this earlier this week. He talked a lot about, hey, man, like we've got to find ways to get our guys in positions to go make plays after the catch.
Yes.
And I think when you're playing an elite defense like this that is going to call up the right look, that is going to be positioned well, that has a lot of talent, what's the best thing you can do? Get the ball out fast and make them chase your guy. Make them run down a threat with the ball in their hands. And like Isaiah Satania, right? That long touchdown he has, the 87-yarder, was him, John getting the ball out, and then boom, it's the guy that's super fast off to the races.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of that stuff. I would like to see more incorporation of the screen game. It almost kind of feels like they've been hesitant with some of the screen stuff. As far as the receivers, I don't know if that has something to do with the Satania alleged fumble against Auburn. I don't know.
Yeah. Or the line, the consistency on the offensive line, possibly. But no, you're right. But I mean, hell, the LSU game, you got that with Burks, and it was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, think about that. The quick dump out to Deion Burks, and boom, he's gone. Like, that's the stuff that I want to see, especially with your running back seemingly going to be banged up still, which sucks for those guys. Get the ball out and let these guys go make plays, man. And if they can make people miss, then you're potentially neutralizing a really good defense, and you're giving yourself an opportunity to create explosives in the blink of an eye.
No, 100% agree with you there. And that's been the thing I've been hoping this offense would do more of I agree with the majority of the folks saying that we need to punt the RPO into the sun and let it just burn and never do it again. But in some of those cases, when John gets rid of that ball quickly, we've seen big plays. Honestly, that sidearm throw when he threw it to Burks on that screen against LSU was him seeing a blitz coming, and he waited just enough of a moment and threw it to the side of the guys, because if he threw it straight ahead, they knocked that bad boy down. He has his moments. When we went tempo against LSU, and that's when I felt like he felt more comfortable. When he's in there making his adjustments, they're going tempo, he's quickly getting it going, boom, boom, boom. And you saw not only the Burks play, the Satania touchdown, but he was hitting Kanik on some quick plays across the middle.
Giovanni.
You start to see a rhythm out of him. I want more of that going forward. But I need him to make sure he doesn't throw a pick out of that too, because he is very susceptible of throwing an interception when he gets that comfortable. Unfortunately. But then from there, like you said before, which is a great point, can we get more design run?
Yeah.
And is he healthy enough to do it? Because BB talked about that knee deal, and it doesn't look like he could cut. But when he's running straight forward, that spinny thing you did against Bama, you're like, oh, okay, you're good to go as long as you're going north and going one direction.
Yeah.
How do you feel about our running back room being healthy enough for his run game to be effective?
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of the biggest question marks about this whole thing for me. That's another thing that kind of, draw some hesitancy from me, because I felt like going into this, like I talked about this here on the show, I felt like we were talking too much about OU's inability to generate offense or generate a run game, and no one was talking about the fact that both of their best running backs were in the red health bar. And yeah. I thought, I was singing up and down. I was like, guys, if those backs are healthy for the playoff game, they're going to run the hell out of the football. Like that, it's going to look completely different, because they've been trying to protect those guys for the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. And now, I'm getting calls and texts from people out there, and they're like, hey, man, Xavier is still in that giant knee brace.
He is.
That compression sleeve on his leg. And it's like, you had about 3 weeks or so to rest. If it's still something that's hovering, that would lead you to believe that maybe that sprained knee is a little bit more serious than we've all accounted for, which
True.
Is not good. Astute analysis there, Colin, but that's not good if your guy's still dealing with a knee sprain after, I don't even know, 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Roughly.
And then Blaylock, he's kind of the key for me in this one. I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't know where his shoulder is at. I think that if he's good to go, you feel a lot better. If he's still banged up as well, with X-Rob definitely banged up, well, now you start talking like Javonte Barnes here, which I don't know where you're at with that, but it doesn't look promising.
I'll say my thoughts on Javonte is the pass protection will be elite. Yeah. The lead blocking will be elite in a design run for Mateer. He might find a hole here or there. I don't know if I'll put it this way. If we get Javonte Barnes versus Michigan, we're good.
Yeah.
He found holes when we had that 8-9 minute drive at the end of the game to close it out. That was Barnes finding holes, 8 yards here, 6 yards here, boom, boom. And he was running it down their throat. You get that in this game, you're probably in a good situation. Now, I expect them to hand him the ball because he is the freshest running back we have that we would actually want to play. Plus, he pass blocks very well. Again, that's why I said that.
Man, remember the
really
block
good
he
leader.
had against Michigan on that Deion Burks?
Wow!
One of my favorite plays of the season.
He folded somebody, too. I was like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Do it again. I remember replaying that over and over like, goodness, he folded that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more of that. That's what we want. I guess if we can get that version of him from Michigan, I think that we're in a good spot. But you're going to be wanting to, like you said, you're going to run Blaylock, you're going to run X-Rob literally till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with the question from that is, what does this line look like with Michael? He's questionable, so I don't expect him to play. You'll have Weiwu back at the center spot. Fogier, does he continue to play well at guard? Do you play Heath Ozaida, who's back? Derek Simmons at tackle.
Yeah.
What does that configuration look like?
Quickly on the backs, this is the give and take that I'm at with Barnes. Number one, I hate to say it like this, but it's portal tape season right now.
It is.
Hey man, if there were ever a time to create some value for yourself after sitting out majority of the season, it would be in a playoff game. And if you're going to go ahead and hop in the portal and do all that, I wish you well, but it is probably in everyone's best interests, including yourself, for you to put some really damn good tape out there in a high stakes setting in order to entice whatever coaching staff is going to take you in next.
Yep.
So there's that, and that's why I'm a little bit encouraged by potentially playing Barnes. But this is my thing too. Everyone asks me about Barnes and, is he going to play? And I'm like, well, okay, if he does play, even when he was playing, there was a faction of the fan base that was upset when he did get the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Has that just gone away? Have we forgotten about that? And with that, I think sometimes we do this dangerous dance, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes, where, like in our Mason Thomas is probably a good example of this, where it's like, oh, he's off the availability report. He's back. Are we sure he's 100% good to go?
Right.
If he's available, does that mean he is fully healthy or he is available? Like, is he going to play at true R. Mason Thomas form, or is he going to play 15, 20 snaps of pass rush? I would take either one for the record. But when you apply that rule to the likes of a Javonte Barnes, again, we do this thing where it's like, oh, well, he's going to play. And then you just naturally assume he's playing to the best of his ability. I don't know what that looks like. Are we so sure he's a guarantee to play well after being shelved from game action this long? Like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't want to just assume and give people hope that, like, oh yeah, he's back, he's going to be awesome. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Hold your horses. Don't put too much dip on your chip when it comes to that, because again, like you said, you don't know. You don't know what you're getting out of them coming back from injury. So you're right. I also feel like they would not play them if they're going to be detrimental to the team.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Your point is very much valid. That is the question I'm curious about too, is how effective are they going to be? Like, I want to see how effective Mateer is going to be against this Alabama defense. They're going to be trying to find ways to turn them over. They're going to be trying to find ways to confuse them and make something happen. Or do we just get to the point where we say, screw this, we're going to brute force our way through this game and we're going to just run it down their throat the entire time?
Yeah. I would love to see it. I'm with you. I don't think that they will put him out there unless they have full belief in his ability to support the team. That being said, it's like, I remember a couple of weeks ago, we did this song and dance with Taylor Tatum. They were like, oh, he's available now. And then everyone was like, oh my God, Taylor Tatum's about to carry the rock 15 times. And he didn't play once.
Not one time.
And then, so then you think about that and you're scarred. And then you look at Barnes and you're like, well, if he does go in there and they do believe in him and then he gets out on that game field, and I'm not here to question anybody, but it's like, when someone who plays for the Alabama Crimson Tide hits you in your face for the first time in weeks, that's a response that you can't prepare for.
Nope.
So I am curious about that. Quickly on the offensive line, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have much concern about them at all. That sounds crazy, but
that's a great feeling to have, ain't it?
I mean, Brent said it today. He's like, they're a great story. They're a bunch of like freshmen who have embraced it, haven't acted like they've arrived. And you know, I love when Brent gives really good quotes like that. He's like, none of those guys act like they have become stars. They just love being offensive linemen. And then he put it very well. He was like, and then, oh, by the way, though, it's like they played pretty well. Like there are a bunch of young guys actually playing well for us this season. And
very well.
Look, that's relative. That's certainly relative. Have they been perfect? Far from that. But, man, outside of like penalties and things like that, there have been moments where they have probably been the least problematic group on that offense.
Which is crazy to say because that was one of our biggest – that's been our biggest one of our biggest concerns this season because we haven't gotten – we haven't gotten the run game we hoped for this year.
Yeah. And I don't think that's the fault of the backs, by the way. Like, you know, they're dealing with stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's injuries. It's they're dealing with major ailments. Like you said, they're all in the red, basically. The wear and tear on NCAA or college football 26 is literally red on both X-Rob and Torrey Blaylock, which sucks that they would be the only two backs that have that, and you have other backs that are just kind of there.
Around.
Existing.
Yeah.
You would like to see more of.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But the offensive lineman, man, like, it's crazy to think that I'm going into a game against Alabama, and as an analyst, I'm looking at this offense saying, well, like, should I really be fretting that much about those guys? Like, I mean, hell, I'll be honest with you. I'm more so curious who's going to step up at receiver than I am on the offensive line.
That is actually where I'm very curious, too.
They've got Isaiah Satania, don't get me wrong, but I think we all know here on the show, Alabama is going to do its damnedest to take him away.
He is the target.
I assume, because, you know, they're good at their jobs. So, like, if you're sitting there at home going, what am I more curious about, that young offensive line coming to play, or, like, is Giovanni Gibson going to be ready to roll? Can Deion Burks have a breakout game? I know where I'm at with it. And it sounds like you and I are kind of in the same boat with this dynamic going into this.
Yeah. Is Keontae going to play? Who feels like the one guy that Mateer really uses as his
safety net? Yeah.
Yes, he's been his safety net this year, which has been a little bit more interesting. I think Giovanni was his safety net in camp. He gets hurt, and then he transitioned to Keontae, and it's been Keontae ever since. Now, Satania's put up the most numbers. And so
he's been hurt. Like, Keontae was going to be the safety blanket, and then he, you know, that's another red health bar guy.
That is true, and I expect him to play in this game. The only thing I've had with Keontae is he falls before he takes it potentially the yard.
Yeah, I mean, he's a possession guy.
Yeah, I hate that because he could. There's so much yak. There's so much yak right there.
I don't
Who
know.
I was watching? I was Brooks Austin. I was watching Brooks Austin, the film guy, who's become very, very popular this year. But he was pointing it out in one of the games, and he was just like, catch the ball and he falls. There's like a good 10, 15 yards additional you could have gotten. Heck, you could have turned it up and been gone. Like you said, Collin, getting our guys the ball in space and then letting them do work.
Jaren Kanak.
We seem to get these guys in space and let them do work.
Yeah. I mean, Kanak on that final drive, which game was that? Missouri, LSU, where he had a couple of big catches down the stretch and made some people miss. I think that was LSU, right?
Yeah, he did the little cut, yeah, at the sideline. Yeah, him with a little shaking
people miss. Like, he can make plays in space. You know, like, you've got the guys, and again, I think Burks is just such like a enigma because you're sitting there going, this dude definitely has big playability. We've seen it.
Go watch his the touchdown against LSU was it. That was the dude. Where has this been? I missed this so much.
How long ago did some of those plays against Michigan feel? You know, the play down the sideline, the jet sweep, like, hey man, Deion Burks is cooking, and then it's like, well, that feels like it was years ago. And then the LSU game, and you're like, whoa, he got out of the gate there. He's got it. I mean, again, I would like to see some of those guys have the opportunity to go make explosive plays with the ball in their hand, because I do think that this setting lends them that opportunity.
I agree. This is probably the one, if any of them. If this is the defensive battle that we anticipated to be, a big play is what's going to open things up to your win. The Satania touchdown where he's wide open and you take the lead, right? After Mateer throws an interception and puts you in a circumstance where you have to have that. But that play, the Burks one, those are going to be the plays that change things for us. Or, it basically changed things for us in this game against Bama. You're going to need those on occasion. I think that's what's going to be the play that says this team wins. It's going to be stuff like that. We just can't give them short yardage. I think that's where my mindset is. Don't let them get short field at all. Make them have to drive 70-plus yards.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll be able to, based upon the way this defense is played.
So, unless you've got anything on the offense, I did want to go back to the defense, because we kind of just talked about two defensive linemen, and then we were like, all right, we're
out. We're out. Fair.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, though, because I do think that the defense is such a big layer to this game, right? Brent Venables, all time, I believe John Hoover said, is 4-0 in rematch settings.
5-1 off bye weeks.
Alabama has never in its program history. I mean, I know that there's some people saying it's been since like 1932 when they played like the School of the Blind or something.
1863.
Yeah, so I don't count
the School of the Blind.
Yeah, I'm not counting that. So Alabama has never lost to the same team twice in one season.
Mm-hmm.
This defense for me is interesting because why I wanted to go back to them, we kind of skirted past the idea, but you were talking about the defensive line and limiting rush yardage.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But this is something that you and I talked about when we did like the game preview together for the first Alabama game this season.
Right.
They don't run the ball. They're a one-dimensional offense at times, and that kind of came to fruition in Tuscaloosa. And this is the other thing for me. This is one hell of a stat, in my opinion. This Alabama offense, last time it was on the field, was in the SEC title game. They tied for the fewest amount of points scored in an SEC championship game in the last 25 years.
Yep.
So let's talk now kind of about the back end, like the back seven or whoever else, because I think it's going to come down to, again, Ty Simpson and Alabama's ability to throw the football, and Brent calling a defense with his linebackers and secondary that limits the Alabama passing game and potentially forces more turnovers and takeaways. And I think that's another thing kind of got to talk about, and I don't know where you're at with it, but it's like, how confident are you in this defense's ability to limit an Alabama offense again, and can they generate more takeaways now with Alabama knowing what they did to them to force those turnovers last time around?
My curiosity is, how does Alabama change their game plan coming into Norman? Because the one thing, though, that is a big piece to consider in this is they're going to have to deal with the Norman crowd. Over on Locked On, they have a college football kickoff show. Former TCU head coach Gary Patterson is on the panel there. And so I got on there and was talking about prepping for this game and listened to them a little bit afterwards. And Gary was talking about they won in Norman one year. They go back to play. And he's like, I couldn't hear the assistant coach next to me in conversation. We could not hear. It was that loud. This is the first playoff game. The tickets flying. Everybody's buying them. People are going to go to this game. Regardless of the temps, it's going to be 50s. So everybody be bundled up. But it's going to be loud. It's going to be hard for them to hear. They lost this game to Georgia with only one turnover. And it was mainly Georgia just stopped them on every single possession. I feel like we could replicate that. I feel like even as they want to adjust, your fastest pass rusher now is ready to go hit. I can totally see them trying to get rid of the ball quickly throughout most of the game to where Ty's not holding the ball long enough for our blitz to really hit, which means I don't think they're going to take very many deep shots, especially because the wind's going to be a factor. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the one thing they're going to have to figure out is the thing that they're going to struggle, that they struggled at all year, which is running the ball. They're going to have to get a run game going. They don't get a run game going in that wind, Ty's not going to be as effective. Pass is going to get caught in the air. They're going to get slowed up. Somebody's going to come across, knock it down, pick it off. Similar for us, which is where if there's one thing our defense has to be very meticulous about is tackling in space. If they catch that screen pass, if they catch that quick pass, you can't let them get past you. But if you do, even though you're used to playing in this code, you should be. Somebody's going to be gone.
Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though they have not used him much at all this year like that. It's just
feels like this is the game where they try to change that, no? Quick screen game to Ryan Williams in the cold, see if he can't be an extension of the run game, make a few guys miss. That would be something I'd be talking about in the offensive meeting room, right?
Like, yeah, coach, why don't we find a way to get the ball to this guy? Even though in between Georgia and Oklahoma, 5 catches for 78 yards. No touchdowns.
Legitimately, like, measured as one of, if not the best stop and start ability in college football.
Yep.
And you're not throwing him the ball. And I know he fumbled against Oklahoma on the punt return. I get all that. He has had drop issues. But, and I will mention this, Jam Miller is going to be healthy. I don't know Ultimately, how much that actually elevates the run game, especially against this Oklahoma defense, I don't know.
If you're smart, you run Daniel Hill in this game.
Yeah, you led the. I told you on this show.
You did.
Right before the Alabama game, they've got a guy named Daniel Hill who is big as hell. I would just give him the football.
I mean, yes, that's your X-Rob. That's your version of X-Rob. Hand him the ball and let him run.
So I'm going to call another shot here. I'm going to say if I were Alabama, I would be dumping quick passes out to Ryan Williams and saying, "Hey man, do that little gear shift thing and get gone. Like go figure something out." Now, to your point as well, the throwing the ball and the ball. I wanted to get this on here too. This is a real quote. Alabama players were getting asked about playing in Norman in 2024.
Yep.
Quote from Jeremy Bernard. Their lights, it kind of got me last time that we played. Their lights were kind of, I don't know, in a weird position. End quote. It's hard to prepare for that, but we're receivers. We're going to have to experience that at some point in our career. We have to be able to adjust. I guess the stadium lights are helping Oklahoma in this game.
I thought that was a very fascinating quote that he put out there that,
yeah.
Like, a lot of people on the socials, of course, say, oh, they're making excuses early. No, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because we've seen muff punts by us over the last 3 years because we've actually started to try to return them where the old regime did not. So I get him.
Yeah.
But you don't say that out loud.
I was shocked. I was like, what are you doing?
That was just, I guess.
Hey, man, look,
I don't know.
But that's, I don't even know. I mean, if it's cold, they talked about it being cold. They talked about how the field at Oklahoma is hard. Like it's, I don't know. They talked about the field condition at OU, which is a whole other thing. But
I mean, it's looked so much better now in comparison.
Yeah,
it's been great this year.
I think that Alabama, if they all of this combined, is basically going to have to find ways to extend their run game. I would assume that's through Ryan Williams. I would assume that's maybe, I don't know, swinging it out to a guy like Jam in the backfield. Daniel Hill, people forget as a recruit, was actually someone that had like some H-back capabilities to him. So I think he can be very effective out of the backfield. They just got to give him the opportunity to do that. I'm keeping my eye on that layered to this game because if they're still a one-dimensional offense, you got to find a way to address that.
Yeah. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to use Hill. They're gonna have to find ways to get that ball out as fast as possible if they want to have a chance to actually win this game. Now, granted, again, my confidence is I feel a lot better, a lot calmer now after talking to you, as I'm talking through a lot of this, because the way I look at it is the biggest challenge that both teams have is going to be their offenses and their run games. And I think I'm a little bit more confident in a healthier version of Mateer versus their defense after seeing what Gunnar Stockton did. And Gunnar Stockton, solid quarterback, he's not putting up very many numbers more than what John Mateer does. He just throws touchdowns. That's really your big difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, they finished the game with 97 yards in the game and won by 3 touchdowns. Why can't we do something like that? They only returned 2 punts in the game. It's really about field positioning. And the one thing that we have been really good at this year is been field positioning. We have put our defenses in the best field position in college football. think we're rated number 1 in that when I looked up the field positioning metrics and efficiency. We're number 1 because we do a great job of putting opposing teams in bad spots. Now, that may be because the offense stalls, but the punter still does his job of making sure that they're in a bad spot too. And then the defense forces them out of it, and they have to punt it back, and then we go. We just have to capitalize on it on the offensive side, which I think we can. I am a little bit more confident in it than I was before. But at the same time, I do know that this is going to be a real challenge to try to beat a team a third time in 13 months.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. What's your prediction for the game?
Man,
I know.
I've been trying to come up with a final score for days, and I still don't have one.
So as of recording, I will give you a little help.
There you go.
As of recording, Oklahoma is now a 1.5 point favorite with the over set at 40.5. Yes. And based upon the traffic that I've looked at, I'm looking at one site, looking at FanDuel. I'm also looking at one site, pregame, that I always look at because it shows you where it comes from, most of the traffic. All of the traffic has still been on Alabama this entire time. Over 50%. 58% of money, 55% of the spreads through FanDuel. And the line has now shifted back to us. Now, it's gone back and forth all day, but I have a feeling it's going to stay in the Oklahoma side. But Oklahoma's a favorite at 1.5. At 40.5 is the over-under.
Let me say this. I know we talked a lot about Oklahoma. We did not talk a whole bunch about Alabama. We cover Oklahoma for a living. And so I want to say this. I think Alabama is a really darn good football team.
I think they're talented.
I think Alabama, like I mentioned at the start of the show, like playing those players and that coaching staff again, if I were Oklahoma, I would understand the nerves. I think there's a lot of layers to this game that will make this, I believe this is going to be a battle.
Agreed.
I will go 24-21. Oklahoma wins.
Wow. So you're thinking they're going to go over the 40.5.
I don't feel good about it, but I just
okay.
I'll say either 24-21. Here's what makes this hard is we know that Alabama does not have a field goal kicker.
They do not.
So they have to kind of sell out and go for touchdowns.
They have to. And we have been very good in fourth down.
And that's something that I think all of a sudden presents the opportunity for points go up on the board because of the familiarity and the need to force the issue for that offense, right? Like they can't expect their field goal kicker who struggled all year to suddenly go kick it in the frigid cold in the wind in Norman. And then if you're Oklahoma, it's like, well, got to match those scores. Maybe Tate knocks one through. I'll say like somewhere between 17-14 or 24-21. Like, give me OU winning by 3 or 4. I don't know how easy field goals are going to come by in this game, but I think that the conditions play a role. I think the familiarity plays a role. And I think maybe, just maybe, like Tate Sandell kind of helps them navigate the conditions somewhere in the end. Because that's the thing we haven't talked about, too, is the special teams advantage still very much, in my opinion, favors Oklahoma. Yep. I don't know what that ends up meaning in those types of weather conditions, but it could be something that ultimately elevates the Sooners again over Alabama.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think you've sold me. I'm going to finalize my pick as 17-14.
So you're going to take the under now. I love it.
Take the under because you've talked me into 20, 40 plus points being ridiculous. That being said, I'm sitting here like, how does Alabama only score twice? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm ready to get it over with.
So I say, pretty simple in my mind, I'm sticking to my number. I'm saying 20-10, Oklahoma. I feel like this will be similar to the South Carolina game, but in Norman. Just because of everything they're dealing with health-wise in spots where, like, the health stuff we've been dealing with is what we've been dealing with all of Red November. So as much as I can point it out, this is the same stuff we've been dealing with. So it's like not as critical to me. I will say that I think it stays low scoring. We get a breakout play that closes it out. Like we're up 13-10 and we break out and score, take the double digits, and then we end the game that way. That is what I think.
That's fair.
That score is going to be. So that's a 30-point game, under, guaranteed, but also covering this spread that keeps fluctuating and going more and more our direction.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So we'll see if it works out. Make sure you check out my boy Collin over there at 247 Sports, Sooners Illustrated, Sooner Pod 60.
Sooners Pod 60.
Sooners Pod 60 is promo code. You can find it in the link in the description below. Thank you, my man. Love talking ball with you before. Are you going to be in Norman for this game?
I will be there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
I'll be waiting for the
anything.
post game with you freezing while you're out there.
Yeah, no, that is going to be rough. Like that. Everyone bundle up. Bring your hand warmers. It's going to be a chilly one.
It's going to be a chilly one. And you're going to be coming, because you'll be coming from North Texas. You're not used to this type of cold and being out there, and it's cold a lot in wind. Make sure you bring extra layers, man. I watched you the last game. I was like, he looks cold.
Let me tell you something. I moved away from Oklahoma after living there 6 years because of that damn cold. And then showed up the last game of the year, and I had a hoodie and a vest on, and I realized very quickly my mistake. So
yeah, you learned a very valuable lesson. So, all right, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Also, check out, like I said, Collin Kennedy over there at Sooners Illustrated. And with that, we will talk to y'all after the game.
We'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Boomer Sooner.